There is a moment most dog owners recognize. You step on the dog's paw. The yelp, the immediate flinch of guilt. You crouch down, you use a soft voice, you reach out your hand, and the dog, within seconds, is leaning into you, tail low but moving, eyes soft. The interaction looks exactly like forgiveness. The question is whether it is anything of the kind, or whether something else entirely is happening inside that animal. Dogs have been selected across thousands of years specifically for sensitivity to human social signals. No other animal on Earth has been shaped so precisely around us. A dog reads your posture, your vocal tone, your facial expression, and your eye movement faster and more accurately than any other species tested. Research out of the Family Dog Project in Budapest found that dogs follow human gaze in ways that even chimpanzees, our closest relatives, do not reliably match. The dog is not just living with humans. It has been built generation by generation to read us. So when you apologize to your dog, the dog is receiving information. The crouched posture reads as a reduction in social threat. The soft voice sits outside the tonal range the dog associates with correction or danger. The slow extension of your hand is not an aggressive gesture. The dog is processing a specific bundle of signals that its entire evolutionary history has optimized it to interpret as safety and affiliation. Whether that constitutes understanding an apology in any sense that maps onto what we mean by the word is a different question entirely. The harder case is primates. Frans de Waal spent decades documenting reconciliation behavior in chimpanzees, and what he found reshaped how researchers think about animal social cognition. After conflicts, chimpanzees engage in deliberate post-conflict affiliation. The aggressor approaches the animal it injured, offers a touch, a groom, sometimes a kiss on the mouth. The injured animal, more often than not, accepts. De Waal called this reconciliation, and he was careful about that word, but he used it anyway because the behavior fits the functional definition. It repairs a damaged relationship. It reduces future aggression between the same individuals. It works. What the chimpanzee data suggests is that reconciliation does not require language. It does not require a spoken apology or a conceptual understanding of fault and responsibility. It requires something simpler and possibly more ancient. It requires a signal that communicates, I am not a continuing threat to you. I want to remain in proximity. The body delivers that signal. The other animal reads it. Corvids push this further in an unexpected direction. Ravens and crows have demonstrated in laboratory conditions that they track who wronged them and how. An animal that cheats a raven in a food exchange will be avoided and responded to with increased wariness in subsequent interactions. The raven does not forget. It does not default to neutral. It maintains a specific negative social ledger entry for that individual. But researchers studying corvid social dynamics have also found evidence of something on the other side of that ledger. Animals that behave consistently fairly receive more cooperation. The social record cuts both ways. The crow is keeping score, and apparently that score can improve. What this means for apologies is that the cognitive prerequisite, remembering who harmed you and updating your assessment of them based on subsequent behavior, is present in birds with brains the size of a walnut. The architecture for distinguishing a one-time bad actor from a persistent threat exists well below the level of mammals. A raven can tell the difference between someone who wronged it once and never again, and someone who wrongs it repeatedly. That is not forgiveness in the human theological sense, but it is something real, and it is measurable. Elephants bring a different weight to this question. Elephants have been documented recognizing and responding to specific humans years after a single interaction. Joyce Poole and Cynthia Moss, who have studied Amboseli elephants for decades, documented individuals who reacted differently to humans who had previously harmed members of their group versus humans with no history of aggression. The elephant social memory does not reset. It accumulates. There are documented cases of elephants whose behavior toward humans shifted markedly after positive extended contact, including rescue situations, in ways that persisted. Animals that arrived terrified and remained calm during subsequent human contact for years afterward. The threat assessment updated. The new data replaced the old default. Whether any specific gesture of apology or reconciliation from a human registered as such to the elephant. Whether the elephant categorized the interaction as repair rather than simply as new neutral data is something the research cannot currently establish. But the update happened. The record changed. The more precise question, whether an animal understands that a human is trying to repair something, requires the animal to have a model of human intention, to register not just that the human's behavior changed, but that the human is aware of having caused harm and is attempting to address that. This is theory of mind territory, the ability to attribute mental states to others, to understand that another individual has intentions, beliefs, and awareness that differ from your own. In great apes, theory of mind in some limited form appears to be present. Chimpanzees and bonobos pass certain false belief tasks, can track what other individuals know and don't know, and adjust their behavior accordingly. In dogs, the evidence is more contested but suggests at minimum a functional sensitivity to human attentional states. A dog behaves differently when it knows it is being watched, whether that reflects a genuine model of the human's mental state or a learned behavioral rule about observation and consequence is something researchers continue to argue about. What the data across species consistently shows is this: animals that live in complex social groups have developed mechanisms for repairing relationships after conflict. Those mechanisms do not require language. They operate through behavior, through signal, through the patient accumulation of new evidence about who a particular individual is going to be going forward. A human who causes harm and then behaves differently, who approaches slowly, who does not escalate, who maintains calm proximity over time, is generating exactly that kind of evidence. The animal reads behavior, not words, not the internal experience of guilt or remorse. Behavior. This is possibly the most honest answer the research supports. When you apologize to your dog does not understand the concept of an apology, but your dog reads everything your body does when you apologize. The lowered posture, the softened voice, the unhurried reach. Those signals are received and processed by a nervous system that has spent a very long time learning to read exactly that kind of human communication. Something gets through. What name we give it depends on how strictly we want to hold the definition. The animals that have the richest documented post-conflict repair behaviors, chimpanzees, elephants, corvids, dolphins, are the same animals that live in long-term social groups where relationships matter across years and decades. Evolution built the repair mechanism because without it, social groups fracture. The same pressure that gave us the impulse to apologize gave other animals their own versions of the same tool. We arrived at this from different directions and ended up with something that, at least in the space between a human and a dog on a kitchen floor, looks close enough to the same thing that the difference may matter less than we think.